Welcome to Slash Forward, and before we start I wanted to let anyone interested in supporting the channel know that I've set up a website that enables you to make donations. Any donation earns you a link to an uncensored 10-minute video featuring Toby Hooper's Life Force. I'll also be adding more content when I'm able, so check it out, and a huge thank you to Nicholas and Seth, the first to contribute. Your extra support is truly appreciated. In this episode, we're taking one last go around with our friends, Charlie and the Krites, in Critters 4. If you hate saying goodbye, subscribe for more content. Let's get to it. We open where we last left off, Kansas in 1992. We see Charlie back in the basement, blasting at every noise in the dark. He gets the message that extermination is forbidden, and obediently deposits the eggs in the containment system, which then closes with him in it and begins to cryo-freeze. He attempts to escape, finding the buttons to be mostly for show, and then goes on a fantastic voyage, flipping through the universe. Flash forward to the Saturn sector in 2045, a time the movie optimistically assumes will contain so much space travel that it's become banal to someone like Ethan, who's patiently counting the months until he's able to visit Earth. He runs across his mentor Albert, who always chews gum while speaking.
A magnetic space anomaly, and he's gotten stiff in the jock.
And they do a quick boot swap before taking their stations. The bridge of this grimy ragtag scavenger ship is locked onto some potentially lucrative space trash and are working to bring it on board. With some effort, they do manage to snag it and hoist it aboard. Upon examination, it's noted that the canister carries the symbol of the now defunct Intergalactic Council. They presume someone still owns the thing, so they do their due diligence to avoid any future ownership disputes. They get an almost immediate message from their new galactic overlords, TerraCore, who confirms the property is theirs, and they'll send a convoy to rendezvous with them at their nearest station 3 Earth days away. The crew agrees, despite Captain Rick's desire to try to squeeze them for more riches. They arrive excitedly at the nearly empty station, which raises Fran's hackles. So they proceed cautiously and attempt to assess the condition of the facility. Albert chews his way through the diagnostic and finds the nuclear core fairly close to being fully non-functional. This drives Fran to the shower, where the menfolk bask in the playful suggestiveness of her silhouette. Rick takes this as an invitation and announces himself to her, resulting in him getting jacked right in front of his subordinates. Pushed to the brink by his disrespectful crew, he immediately runs off to their treasure, knowing that it's not going to complain when he discharges into it, and he proceeds to work on popping this bad boy open. The energy burst is picked up in the control center, where Al manages to gain control over the computer through reverse psychology.
Do not give me security clearance to all levels.
You have security clearance on all levels.
Assuming a malfunctioning power conduit, he sends Ethan to bypass the manifold patch and crosshatch the tachyon stream. Naturally, when he arrives, Ethan finds Rick behaving in a manner unbecoming of a captain, which includes turning him into a piñata. During this time, the contents of the canister have warmed up a bit, and goofball Charlie pops out, immediately recognizing something strange is afoot. Rick is sure that this can't be all that's in there and enters the pod, finding evidence of hatched eggs. This demonstrates there was more to the bounty, and he soon learns his precious cargo is more than willing to perforate his bowels and eat out his tongue. The young Krites then scurry off to avoid being turned into charcoal. This additional energy signature prompts the occupants of the control room to go check on Ethan, but they find a thoroughly confusing scene instead. Meanwhile, Charlie has attempted to bring Ethan up to speed, and they're having fun sneaking around the ship, playing dress-up, and stumbling into a secret lab where experiments are conducted. In the interest of their ongoing search, they take to the ducts, which proves fruitless, and they're discovered by Bernie. They get cleaned up and demand some answers from Charlie. However, discovering he's been frozen for 53 years proves to be too much, and he swoons. While he snoozes, they use the doctor's credentials to access the lab's records, and see TerraCore was engaged in making some sweet hybrid monsters for the purpose of clearing out areas for real estate development. Albert makes the wise choice to blow this joint, but they can't disembark immediately because Bernie is using the doctor's security card to clear out the pharmacy. They locate him on the computer with 2 unknown signatures closing in on him. Their warning startles him and goes unheeded because what's the point of living if you don't have a backpack full of random unlabeled pills? They rush to help but find they've arrived too late. Now they're free to go, except the computer warns of a radioactive hazard and starts sealing doors, forcing them to take to the hatches. Meanwhile, the Krites hatch their own plan for their hatchlings that involves the ass Tesla. So, as they begin preparations to leave, which includes entrusting Charlie with their one remaining antique weapon, a Krite makes it on board and wreaks havoc. Some havoc wreaked directly by eating the wiring, and some indirectly by enticing Charlie to fire on it, directly into the control panels. We learned there was a mistaken assumption about the number of available available ships on the station, so they're now forced to sit tight and await TerraCore's arrival. Unfortunately, Ethan's deep-seated daddy issues flare up, causing him to run off to take out his aggression on the final Krite. But he has only one bullet left and he finds a batch of fresh eggs, and evidence of them incubating new hybrids, so he runs out of there. When he gets back to the airlock, TerraCore has arrived. Seeing the CEO is Ugg, Charlie mistakes him for his friend, but time changes all, and he freeze blasts Albert in the abdomen. His minions then fan out to find the specimens, but Ethan runs around closing doors and herding them into the laboratory where their two problems can face off with each other. Ethan then enters the airlock, playing a little carnival game to distract Ugg long enough to knock him out. Despite the near-certain victory, Ethan delays his departure to say goodbye to his mentor, resulting in a Krite attack that he narrowly wins, and then he leaves, after saying his final goodbye and taking a memento, which then forces them into a three-way standoff. In demonstration of the evolution of Charlie's character arc, he takes the shot and they leave, after delaying temporarily to say his final goodbye to his old friend. This leaves them just enough time to take off before the core goes critical and vaporizes the station. Then Charlie goes ripping across the solar system, which would have been as fun even if he were doing it 5 minutes earlier. Critters 4 was as good as any of the sequels so far. It clearly had a more limited creature budget, but it was nice of them to bring back the element of advanced intelligence that was implied in the first film. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.